Hello everybody, BrioS here. Today we are looking at the hulking 95-ton inner battle mech, and this baby you see here with lots of weapons sticking out is the Banshee. This particular variant I'm showcasing is the Banshee 3S. Noticeable because it has lots of quirks, defensive quirks, weapon quirks, but it is engine capped at 345 and it has horrible mobility. So it is slow moving, very immobile assault mech, and yeah. And not only that, let's talk about the hitboxes of the Banshee, which is always my biggest concern. The center torso of the Banshee is notoriously big among the more experienced players. So if you're going to present your front to the enemy like this, most of your front center of mass is the center torso. So it's going to be a problem. All the damage goes into the CT, or most of it. But the advantage of the hitboxes is that if you're able to present your side to the enemy, these arms are also huge. So at this angle, you can see the arm blocks most of the fire, which is pretty darn good. And yeah, but another problem is that other than the missile rack on the right torso, all the weapons are pretty low mounted, so way below the cockpit. So hill humping is going to be a problem, but it has armor quirks and some weapon quirks, and they are pretty awesome. So let's look at the positive things like the quirks. So as you can see here, this Banshee 3S has a ballistic and missile cooldown of 15%. It also has a medium laser duration, which I'm not using for this build. And it has armor 25 in a CT, 16 in each side torso, and the arms, which are chunky, have plus 10. All this combined with the heat reduction of 10%, PPC velocity of 20% makes it very well quirked. It just suffers from the horrible hitboxes, the low mounts, and yeah, that huge CT. And that's why not ranked highly among the competitive players. But it's still fun and it can do well. I'm not really a really good assault player. I tend to play fast mediums. But I thought I'll share this build and some gameplay with you guys. So if you're wondering what is this guy mounting, well, on the right torso, you'll see I am mounting a huge MRM40 rack. And that has 3 tons of ammunition. This is high mounted, unlike the other weapons, so when you're gonna present yourself at a hill, you can use this weapon to fire over the hill, and it's really high mounted. And with a range of 610 with quirks and, well, not quirks, with skills, it hits pretty far. So this is a secondary weapon, good for sandpapering the enemy at long range. But the joy of this build is the pinpoint 40 points of damage coming from the left torso mounted AC-20 and the 2 snub-nose PPCs, and all these benefit from the quirks. The global 10% heat reduction, the PPC velocity, the AC-20 has the ballistic cooldown, and yeah, it's vicious. It's a high DPS build, but combined with the hitboxes, it's pretty fragile actually, despite the huge amount of armor in the CT. And yeah, so with a light fusion 340 engine, this build moves at a speed of 58 and has 3 tons of ammunition for the AC-20. 14 double heatsinks helps to manage the heat. The heat reduction of 10% really helps, but it's still going to overheat pretty often. And when you're running hot, you can rely on the MRM40 and the AC-20 for some firepower. And let's take a look at the skills. So for a high DPS build, I'm putting 43 SPC into firepower, maximizing all that firepower. Because it's a really hot build, the dual snub nose and the AC-20 does generate a lot of heat, let alone having that MRM40. So lots of heat generation nodes, all of them in fact, for a heat reduction of 10.5%. And for the missiles, I'm getting 2 nodes of missile rack to increase the ammo capacity, 2 nodes of missile spread because MRM spread quite a lot, so 5% spread reduction definitely helps. For the AC-20, because I only have 3 tons of ammunition, even though I tend to die before I use them, I'm having 2 magazine capacity nodes to increase the amount of ammunition. And all the other miscellaneous bonuses gives you a range of plus 11%, which is pretty darn sweet because the MRMs fire to a range of 610 meters, so it's really good for a bit of long range engagement, doing a bit of damage before you close in. And a cooldown of 7.5% helps quite a bit. It does fire faster because of the ballistic and missile cooldowns, so be careful of the heat generation. Yet again, as with most of my builds, it runs pretty darn hot, so always press O for override. With all those structure, or rather with all those armor quirks, I'm going for the left side of the survival tree. 18 SPs gives me, well, some amount of protection, making me last a bit longer. Don't forget, tankiness is not only defined by armor and structure, but also the hitboxes, and the Banshee has pretty horrible hitboxes. The hardpoints are low, like I said, so to engage you have to expose quite a bit of your mech, so that's going to be a problem. So this is more of an ambush build, if you can play it properly. So anyway, 8.8% armor bonus and a 7.8% structure makes it survive just a little bit longer. Mobility, I'm not putting anything because it's really bad mobility, and these are percentage bonuses, so I spend the SPs elsewhere. 20 SPs in operations for the usual 5 nodes of cool run for 10% increase in heat dissipation, and 5 nodes of heat containment for 15% increase in heat capacity. 0 SP sensor tree, so no radar deprivation, so hard cover is your best friend against lock-on skill weapons, and auxiliary 10 SPs for 2 strikes, and 2 cool shots with the cool shot cooldown, so you can fire the second cool shot 25% faster. Yep, so that's it. So that's the Banshee 3S, heavily armored, lots of firepower, especially the pinpoint, 40 damage, good convergence because they're roughly in the same area, but the flaws of this is that it has pretty bad hitboxes, it's also pretty immobile, and the hard points are pretty low, so best used in ambush builds or just rushing straight at the enemy. But try to twist a bit, even though the torso twist speed is slow, because the arms block a lot of fire. So if you can do that anyway. So anyway, let's get down to some gameplay. Like I said, I'm not the best assault mech pilot, but like I said, probably some of you dedicated assault mech pilots could do better with this build. So anyway, enough talk, let's get down to some violence, so let's go. And here we are for the first showcase match. And it's a match on Alpine Peaks, a map that isn't well suited to this particular build. In fact, this build does badly on this kind of map normally, because at its heart, this Banshee build is a Brawlshee. It's meant to brawl at short range, smash the enemy, take damage in return, and basically just out DPS the enemy. But unfortunately, Alpine Peaks is characterized by these huge hills on my left and my right, and with all this open area with a few lumps here and there of terrain to hill hump over. And big mountains are a bane to assaults because they can't really climb up and they have horrible pitch. Open areas allow you to get lurmed and shot to bits, and this Banshee with its low mounts is pretty bad at hill humping. So game mode is domination, so I'm going to rely on the lights and mediums to cover my flanks and the high ground, because if they get a high ground, I am in trouble. So I'm just going to go to Kilo 8, walk that corner and trust the team to cover my flanks, I suppose, because if they get a high ground, like I said, that rain down fire upon me, I'm pretty much dead because I can't maneuver out of the way.
Target spotted.
So as you can see, there are lots of lurms, one Nova Cat there, definitely Lurboat. What a shame.
Lurboat is a Nova Cat, Kilo 10 high.
What a shame. Nova Cats are beautiful mechs, but in this game they just become Lurboats.
Yeah, let's say hi.
Need help in Kilo 8.
Yeah, lots of lights and mediums trying to push this corner, which is good. They're walking straight into my plan for this particular match.
We are really split.
Yeah, some of the mechs have stayed behind in Kilo 7, some have gone up my right flank. But that's good because you got the lights and mediums holding the high ground. Like this Kid Fox and that Heavy, whatever that is. I think it's Sauron and a quick draw. So anyway, waiting patiently for the first enemy to peek. Strike comes in. Oh, Hellfire! Hellbringer rather.
Around the corner, there's a Hellbringer.
Yeah, it took 40 pinpoint damage to his left torso and some missiles.
Delta.
So one spider with, I think, 80 EBs on my right flank. Oh, there it is. Missiles coming. Corner peeking. Managed to hit that Shadow Cat. Oh, all the missiles. Cool, my strike comes down, destroys 2 components, probably arms or something.
India.
How did that archer get there? What is it doing there alone? It's MRM, so it's not in a good position actually. He's being engaged, but all the lurms, like I just said. So yet again, gonna peek because there's a friendly quick draw to distract the enemy also. So try to corner peek when you have a buddy with you. Enemy gets distracted. So you got Oki there and a Centurion. Triple large pulse. He can outrange me.
Kilo 9, turn around, some of you. Help him out.
He can outrange me because he has better range than me. But I'm more interested in this Shadow Cat. Oh, it's a cadet.
Foxtrot Shadowcat is almost down. He's spotted.
Careful air flag.
I don't think he's new though. He's playing pretty nicely. So there's the Hellbringer. Blew off his left torso, which I alpha'd earlier. I always try to remember where you hit a certain mech.
Foxtrot on the run, he's dead.
Yeah, the cadet goes down 2-1 advantage. Yep, that Hellbringer.
We are pushing. Delta.
That Hellbringer's hurt.
Echo.
He goes down. Time to call for the push. This build has lots of front armor. You gotta
Echo's going down.
take the damage and tank.
He's down. Bravo Nix. Kilo 9 guys, let's all go together.
This quick draw is a bit too overly aggressive.
Alright, let's go.
Somebody get Kilo, it's a
Gotta
Lurboat.
share armor with him. So 2 targets. Hotel, a Lurboat.
Engaging
Oh,
Hotel.
it's not a Lurboat. Why am I 2Cs tend to be Lurboats? Oh, but it's distracted. 4 people versus 1 there.
Bravo on the left.
Long range, so firing my MRMs only. Bit of missiles and lasers in the end, or PPCs. But I think I will ignore him. Gonna leave him to some friendly mechs.
One assault drill at 10.
On the left, one lurboat.
Freaking lurboats.
Yeah, it's a freaking lurboat.
Those who can jump go up kilo 9 high.
Worried about the guys on the hill there, so try to twist my torso a bit
Yeah, go
in
get
case
him.
they shoot me. So left torso is open.
My core.
He tries to lure me, twisting my torso, trying to present my huge left arm to him. Oh, got him. There's Oki. Oh, I thought I got the kill.
Oh yeah. Nicely done. Ultraviolet is rear. Archer Alpha.
Game is more or less won.
Archer core.
That's a Novacat, probably the Lurboat earlier. No, it's Streaks. It's a jumping Novacat. Now that's pretty rare. I didn't know they could jump. So anyway, he's weaponless and yeah. That's it.
And we have them. Thank you, team.
And we have the game.
Well done.
So that was a good team performance with the fast moving mechs like the Kid Fox and the Huntsman covering the high ground on the left and right so that they couldn't harass us. Well, I pushed my assault through the center, trading around that corner and dealing massive damage to the Hellbringer and the Shadowcat. And once the push is called, all of us pushing in, and yep, it's nice when people listen. So 861 damage, 2 kills, 4 KMDD, and a match score of 5-3-1. So let's move on to the next match. So I hope you guys enjoyed that last match on Alpine Peaks, which was pretty interesting because I tried to play to the strengths of this mech by walking around the corner at Kilo 8 and just trading with my 40 pinpoint plus the 40 MRMs, while trusting that my team will cover the flanks, the high ground, where if the enemy gets it, I will be in deep shit. And the enemy basically just walked straight into our battle plan. So the Hellbringer and the enemy Shadowcat just trading poorly versus my 40 pinpoint and my 40 MRMs, and before they knew it, they were 0-2 down. And at that point, we just had to push forward, and like I said, I'm glad that the team listened to me and we push using our superior numbers to basically just hunt them down. But right now, we have ridden Bog, and we hope to emulate that particular performance in this particular match. I'm going to stick to the low ground because I don't really want to get sniped from the high ground. And with all this friendly ECM around, I'm going to try use them to shield me to get to the front lines. I'm going to head straight to the Echo 5 rear, and hopefully with some good comms, the team can support this kind of immobile Banshee. So, yep, let's get down to combat.
Yep, on the ramp.
So as I move up, I'm going to use all this terrain to mask my movement.
I'm going for the far ramp. Echo 5.
Yeah, communicating my intention to the team so the faster mechs can hold the ground while I come in later. That's pretty useful. But don't spam comms. Keep your comms clear and short. So keeping this wall to my left, tip out the spear yet again, even though I'm like pretty darn slow. So hugging the left wall here as I try to reach Echo 5. There should be 1 or 2 mechs there, so I'm gonna try deal some damage.
Override engaged.
Echo 4,
Yeah,
fire starter. Yep.
That fire starter is after the guy
New
you said
target
before.
acquired.
Catapult cord somewhere. Echo 6, I think.
So as I'm about to engage,
On my way to Echo
gonna call some targets.
I'm in Echo 5. My Banshee is going up the ramp.
Echo,
Yeah,
Echo already.
communicating my intention so we can work together.
Acquired.
There they are. This guy's oblivious Charlie. Pitching is an issue, so yeah, gotta wait a while.
Working on the Mad Cat. Charlie, legs are weak.
New
Sure.
target.
Calling targets and components. Roughneck comes
Roughneck
in,
right torso. Echo.
presenting my left arm to take
Echo
some
5
damage.
support.
Calling for support because there's quite a lot of guys here.
New target.
And people normally chicken out.
Roughneck.
Very brave, Roughneck, but he doesn't know that I have a huge alpha and I have friends. So he basically made a huge mistake, and he pays for it.
Yep.
There's that mech
Charlie.
cat. Charlie, legs are weak, but I'm just gonna go for the CT.
Charlie 5-5.
He's caught. Can I get the kill? Oh, I misfired that AC-20 into the tree. Okay, gotta keep the momentum
I'm
going.
going back up the slope. Echo 5.
New target.
Fire starter
Right,
Alpha,
right,
right leg.
starter.
Yeah, let's get him first.
I like to tell the team what I'm doing because I'm slow, so I want the team to know what I'm doing. So one fire starter. Oh, I got his leg. He's basically dead. Can I get the kill? Oh, they can be tanky fire starters. Ah, whatever. I'm not gonna chase him.
Echo 5, careful.
I'll leave him to the Osiris
Engaged.
and the other light. Yep.
Target.
Echo 5,
destroyed.
turn around.
New target.
Delta, side
acquired.
torsos, Battle Master.
Delta.
KMDD though is 3-4. They have a slight advantage as they chewed up our rear.
New target acquired.
Delta first.
Calling
Battle
targets
Master.
like Delta.
Bravo.
So this hill is not to my advantage. taking some damage, but thankfully I have 2 or 3 guys on my right,
Somebody in our rear. Fox
That
5.
catapult CT.
and they took my strike.
New target
But
acquired.
I'm in position.
Beagle.
One overly confident Beagle comes in.
Aw,
That's
stupid
big
idiot
Beagle
Beagles.
He's fresh,
CT stop,
but we
one
have
stop.
Left torso.
3 or 4 here versus him alone. Arrogant Vapor Eagle.
Both
So since
sides
they
of
are
the-
surrendering the advantage,
Yeah,
gonna
let's
push
go.
forward.
New target
There's Delta.
acquired.
Didn't fire, didn't want to hit my friend on my right. But sometimes I do think of my teammates.
Acquired.
Get the assault. Echo
Enemy
5.
base is being captured.
So time to push 6-5. I've got lots of front armor.
My Banshee is coming. Slowly.
Target
Only my
destroyed.
rear is compromised.
Echo 5 to Echo 6. Everybody.
Look at those lights, clearing the way for my Banshee. Thank you, Osiris.
Target
Thank you, Heavy Mech.
Cookie Prince, what's in that Banshee?
base is being captured.
One Timberwolf takes a huge alpha. Fire and shield.
Thank you. Pushing through. Support my Banshee. Gonna brawl.
Target acquired.
That Warhammer's priority.
Enemy base
Yep.
is being
So one fresh warmer here. Hello, Warhammer. He shows me his rear. Oh,
Please don't shoot my rear. Thank you.
somebody hit my rear. Lots of friendly fire, especially when you're tip of the spear.
new target acquired.
But
Nicely done.
yeah, nicely done.
Kill it with
Target
Lurms.
destroyed.
Yeah.
So with one last mech to hunt down, it's time to fast forward this section because not only is it a last mech, but it's also Joker Clown from MJ12, a good player in his Gauss Shadowcat. And you know, it's always a Shadowcat, right guys? You've been in that position before. Last one being a Shadowcat, and then he's gonna jump around everywhere, so this will take a while. So anyway, as for this Banshee, as I said, this Banshee has lots of armor quirks as I mentioned early in this video, but the horrible hitboxes are a liability. But always play to the strength and try to minimize the weaknesses of your mech, or your build rather. So whenever I engage, I try to have buddies around me, and that helps spread the damage, or at least spread the aggro. And that helps because this mech needs to get in close with its short range weapons. Granted it has an MRM40, but that's very little firepower just to harass the enemy at longer ranges. But anyway, we're almost there. There he is. Just a matter of time before he goes down, and we'll review the damage output for this particular match. And he goes down. So that wonderful victory music plays, and it's a 12-5 victory. And interestingly enough, I live because often I die in this build because I take point quite often, and
was wondering where they
that's
came
quite
from.
detrimental to your health. So 941 damage, no kills but 5 km DD, and that is nice because it rewards me with a max score of 525.